What's up, Heather?
What's up, B?
Well, we want to welcome everyone back to Tortured Bourbon in episode 3 of Poor Decisions Wednesday. Yeah, you would have thought we actually practiced that. That's amazing.
You know, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
The brain thing here. So this is the series where we sample bold bourbons and try not to lose our palates or our dignity midweek. Honestly, it gets us through the week, so it's worth it.
That's what we hope it does for you, quite frankly. Now, before we pour anything, make your first good choice of the day. Like this video, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and the artist formerly known as X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Well, that too.
It is X now.
Yeah, I guess it is.
So, as you can tell, I run all the socials.
Oh, God.
So, if you see reels, stories, polls, memes, it's definitely me.
And if you see a post that looks like it was typed on a flip phone, that's probably me.
It's definitely him, actually.
All right, so where are we going tonight?
So, tonight's pour, we've had only once before. It is Dalton Bottled in Bond Wheated Bourbon, made by Spirits of French Lick out of Indiana, which that name is phenomenal. It feels like it should be from Louisiana, though.
Well, tell me who's the most famous person to ever come out of French Lick, Indiana?
I don't know. Can I get a hint?
Basketball. Indiana State. Boston Celtics.
Larry Bird?
Larry Bird.
It had to be a tall white guy.
Yep. You nailed it. 3 hints, boom, there it was. So this is a tribute to William Dalton himself. It's not a tribute to Larry Bird. William Dalton was an early 1800s distiller from Washington County, Indiana. Now, according to legend, he wasn't a big name or a flashy figure, but he represented the kind of hardworking local distillers who built the bourbon backbone of the Midwest.
I'm sure he did.
He absolutely did.
I'm sure he did. And Spirits of French Lick honors that by doing things the right way. We're talking full-on grain to glass.
So as much as we make fun, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really
Check
cool.
this out.
So they actually do grow their own grain.
Seriously.
Which is really cool. They distill it on site using a traditional pot still. They age it, bottle it, all done under one roof, which is really neat.
Yeah. So, I mean, kudos to them.
Yeah.
We're actually going to try to get some more of their expressions. Now, this one's Bottled in Bond, which, if you would watch our series, our long-developed series.
Our 47-parter.
That we thought we should do when we started this thing over 80 episodes ago.
We were overly ambitious.
Not us.
No,
not us
never.
Ever. Right?
B's breaking our set. It's fine.
Right above this young lady's halo, you will find a link to our Bottled and Bond series. But
it's
for
pretty
those
good,
of you,
honestly.
for those of you who need a refresher, it's 100 proof. It's from a single distilling season. It's aged at least 4 years, and it's made at one distillery.
So all those rules just serve to give you something consistent, bold, and you know it's legit. Plus, with this one being wheated, it should be smoother and sweeter than your average Bottled and Bond pour.
Absolutely. So what are we going to get on the nose?
Ooh, we are supposed to get toasted marshmallow, which sounds awesome, vanilla custard, caramel corn, touch of nutmeg, and some soft oak. So this is the type of
soft oak versus hard oak. What would that smell like?
I was like, have you smelled the differences in soft versus hard oak?
As I walked through the forest and I pressed my nose up against the oak tree.
For some reason in my head when he said as I walked through the forest, I started saying that Bible verse. It was like, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I was like, dang, B, you're getting biblical in here.
That's exactly where I was going.
And you know, I thought so.
Yep.
There is no specific type of oak that is considered soft compared to hard.
What I'm wondering is if they mean a softer oak smell versus a stronger oak smell.
Well, then they could have put a at the end of that word. A softer versus stronger. And it would make a lot more sense.
That's fair.
What else do you get on that smell? What do you have?
So this is the type of thing that in the past B and I would have described. It's got that farm smell a little bit. I absolutely get the corn.
Yeah.
And I believe the caramel corn because it's a sweet corn. So
I love caramel corn.
It's so good, right?
I mean, Cracker Jack is... I mean, that's the
Remember
industrial
when you
version.
used to get
but-
those tubs?
Oh, you get this weird
with like the white cheddar. And
There's
the
like 4
caramel.
different ones, and you could pick out what type of was on the tin.
But
That's back when malls were a thing.
It is. But obviously the premier choice was start with the white cheddar and end with caramel corn.
Yeah, because you work your way around to the sweetness.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Salty and sweet.
That's how I describe me.
Me too.
Salty and sweet.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
I'm not getting a touch of nutmeg.
No, I'm not.
I am getting some caramel corn. I am getting the oak.
I think corn and oak with a touch of sweetness is
yeah.
The
So
way
if you
I would
want to call
describe
that
it.
marshmallow, vanilla custard, I really
You know
don't
what?
care.
Live your best life.
And what I will tell you is, having lived in England, there are different varies. There's different levels of custard. So if you're more of the middle, or I don't want to use the word lower class, but if you're more of that working class, your custard is thicker.
That was very much a thing in
Right,
England.
it's a thick custard.
Yeah.
But if you're more of the posh, your custard is much more creamy or liquid.
Because it had to fill you up more.
I guess.
If you were poorer. So.
But when we were in school, they'd walk around, custard.
What would your custard look like?
Well, I mean, I was at school, so it was a
It was thick, huh?
Yeah, so I got used to the thick custard. All right, let's talk about the palate. Now, the palate is said to have butterscotch, some toffee. Here it is. You ready?
I'm waiting.
Honey-drizzled biscuits with a little cinnamon spice.
Well, are these American biscuits or British biscuits? Because you just took us to England, so.
This is Indiana, baby. These are American biscuits.
British biscuits are cookies here.
Correct.
I know. That's why I said that.
I was just trying to put.
I was like, I knew that. I knew that one.
I was just trying to.
Is that the same in Australia?
Yes.
I thought so.
So when you have your shortbread creams,
those are biscuits.
the Honest shortbread creams, they're biscuits.
Yep.
They're not cookies.
They're delicious, whatever they are.
My mother makes fantastic biscuits.
She does make good biscuits. I love a good biscuit, but I don't buy that this is going to taste like honey-drizzled biscuits.
Oh.
So.
But it should have a soft wheat sweetness underneath it all. So what's our finish going to be?
It's going to be medium long with a dry edge. I don't know what that means. Whatever. And lingering brown sugar and oak. That sounds more like bourbon.
Their packaging is dead on before we sip this. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. Let's get
Those colors are your colors.
You know it.
Surprised you didn't go to Notre Dame.
I don't love them that much. I don't get honey drizzled biscuits, but the corn is so strong. The corn and grain.
Ooh, I love that finish. Some people don't like that finish. I like that finish because that
Describe
finish.
it.
So that finish to me is, it's weedy. Okay, so you get this nice sweetness up front, and it's the finish is grain, and the breathe out is grain.
Yeah.
There's a little pepper there. I get what. Look, I'm edgy. I see what they mean by it's kind of cuts. It's a good pour. If you like wheated, it's a good pour. But
it's not super sweet.
No. If you'd like to go back and watch, we've got several episodes. We could only link one, so I'll pick one. But we've got all types of episodes on wheated, and we're going to do more wheated. In fact, I wanted to do this. We're going to do this in a wheated blind at some point.
Oh, yeah.
At some point. I like this one because it's got a little more complexity than, say, 1792 sweet wheat. It's got a little more complexity. In heirloom, Baby Jane is not wheated, but it's supposed to be very sweet forward. This has a little more complexity to me than both of those because of that chew at the end. Sorry, I got excited. I like this one.
The chew is there, and then to go off what B
and
was
the smell
saying,
then complements it. The smell complements that.
absolutely, grain and corn
Yeah.
are the predominant flavors here. You can tell they're digging it up and they're putting it in.
Mm-hmm.
If you like a grain forward, if you like to be able to taste the corn, if you like to taste kind of the individual pieces, this one's definitely a solid for you. If your taste in wheated lends more toward this tastes really sweet. Yeah. I wouldn't call this one it's a corn sweet, which we've described before.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it. It's
a natural sweetness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the finish. Now, not everyone likes that finish. I've heard people comment on that type of finish. I like that type of finish. It's fresh to me. It's very fresh.
Every time I taste a finish like that, it evokes fresh corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't know if you knew too. If you ever did this, this is really country, y'all. If you've ever, grandmother, whatever country family member you've ever had, that you cut the corn off the cob to bag it and freeze it, and then use it for cream corn later. I don't know about yours, but then we would gnaw on, because it leaves some corn, a little bit of the kernel behind, and it's really sweet. It really is. It's very sweet, and it's very good. And if you've ever cut corn off the cob and then gnawed on what's left, that's what that finish tastes like to me.
I wish our viewers knew you.
Where's this going?
Nowhere bad. To picture you in some nasty jeans. I mean like the jean. I don't mean like.
I know what you mean.
I mean some. I don't
They're
mean
dirty,
like your
because
denim.
you've been outside.
I don't mean your denim. I mean your jeans, right? And just a t-shirt or a button up that was bought at the Five and Dime, chewing on a corn cob while your grandma makes cream corn. There is nothing in your daily life.
No.
Zero that portrays that.
Maybe that's what's wrong.
No, no, there's nothing wrong. The juxtaposition of who you like to portray versus this hearkening back to who you are. It's very complex. There's nothing. There's nothing.
It is.
I did not want you to think that it was meant in any form or sense of. But it's amazing that. And you were all business. You were executive. You were straight up. You were highly educated, very intelligent. You're an amazing person. But when you do these harkens back, it is to this. It's almost like a step back in time, like we are going to Little House on the Prairie.
You're not wrong.
And I don't know that anyone who has known you from the time you were, say, 19 or 20, no previous to that. If you haven't specific, no one is gonna land that plane there.
No.
She's just too big for her britches. I mean, and we all live in to some degree. I mean, when my grandmother moved out of Dunn, and I love the people back in Dunn, I never had to fight that battle again.
Right.
I mean, and that's the
right.
And not that there's not lawyers and doctors, and I mean, there's brilliant people living in. I don't mean it like that.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
You know, there's this cultural divide, and it's bizarre. And when you're from the South, it's just something you understand.
Well, and it's
exactly. All created. It's all created. It's not real.
But you get it.
Yeah,
it's totally get it.
But it's all created.
But
it's
there. It's real though.
But it's just but back in your holler, there was someone who was the family doctor, and that dude had a med degree.
And they're brilliant, and they almost have to fake it.
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting because for B and I both, we were both born in the South and mostly raised. This one got to go a few other places than I did. But we both, I think, always wax very nostalgic when we taste a bourbon that evokes those kind of farm flavor profiles.
Back to the whiskey.
That's not a diss.
Back to the whiskey. I'm a big fan of bourbons like this. Not everyone can be farm to table.
Right.
Not everyone can be grain to glass. That's fine. I don't expect it to be. You're not gonna run Buffalo Trace at 2,000 barrels a day or a week or whatever it is they do. I can't remember if it's and Heaven Hill is whatever that time frame. Heaven Hill does 1,700 right now, and Buffalo Trace can do up to 2,000. You're not going to do that by saying,
no.
Well, we grow it and then we pick it and we put it in this copper still and then we bottle it. I mean, but I'm a big fan of this. It's got a different taste. You taste a little that earth tone to it, a little corn forward. But if that's not your thing, you need to leave the spirits of French lick alone. But that's fine because I'm going to buy every bottle I can find.
Yeah, but if you like
it's
that
good.
Truly grain to glass farm flavor profile, grab a bottle.
Yeah, and
it's really good.
I am going to bet, and I'm looking forward to this. I want to find whatever their definition of high rye is. Because if this is their sweet, their high rye is going to be fantastic.
It's going to jack you up a
Yeah,
little bit.
it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So we're going to make a trip to Indiana.
All right.
And she's going to get to see her childhood hero, Larry Bird statue right there. And her other real life hero, Leslie Note.
Let's go see the Hoosiers.
I guarantee you, this is... You don't want to. That's a team that thinks they're better than your people. So I mean, Leslie Knope is her hero. She lives to be Leslie Knope. She wants to be Leslie Knope. When you wake up in the morning, you think, "What would Leslie Knope do?"
I have that written on my mirror.
Absolutely.
Look at it every morning. On that note.
Cheers, y'all. French lick, baby.